I'm Bruce Kuchar, president and founder of Modern Driveline. We're going to be talking about the car collection that I have. These cars have been hand-built by myself over the years, and a lot of the products that we build at Modern Driveline have been either developed and tested on my own personal cars. Well, the Blue Coupe today is my open track car. It's been with me for 2001 when Charlie Bruno, who previously owned the car, was open tracking it. Open tracking was something that I got into when I was in the NorCal Shelby Club in San Jose, California, and the club was doing a lot of open tracking. And the very first track I ever drove was Sears Point Raceway, also known as Infineon, or now Sonoma Raceway. My favorite track is Laguna Seca with the elevation changes. Yeah, the Blue Coupe is a 1992 Mustang. It actually was built in 91. It was a first day build car, serial number 93. So it's unique in that sense. Custom ordered by Don Rossage, who was the original owner of the vehicle. Was going to be a street car. He wanted a coupe because it was stronger, lighter, more nimble. The LXs, were the lightest platform. So the car was custom ordered. And Don took delivery of it. He was using it as a street car, then turned it into a track car. A supercharger was put on, Vortex supercharger with the original engine. Made really decent power. The car came equipped with a T5 from the factory. However, the car today is sporting a A4 type 4-bolt main block. The Vortex has been updated with a larger trim. Intake manifold has been modified. Everything about the car is unique. Engine set back an inch, full Griggs suspension, bare brakes with a 1413 Alcon brake system that was put on. And then, of course, Griggs kind of came onto the scene in the 90s, and so it had all of the latest stuff with coilovers and torque arm and the full Griggs package. Today, the car is still sporting a T5Z with a Kevlar clutch. It makes 486 horsepower, 465 foot-pounds of torque to the rear wheels. It is sporting some 275 40 17-inch R compound type tires to be doing the open tracking. They're fitted onto 1995 R model, Cobra R model wheels. Yes, all of that fits in the fenders, but very, very tightly. It's got all the safety specs. We've got aluminum Safecraft, I believe, seats. A 5-point harness, a roll bar, not a full cage, just kind of a 4-point system. Tucks in quite nicely, you really don't see it. The car had an extensive amount of chassis stiffening. Charlie went through and put subframe connectors and what we call the Charlie outer extensions and through the floor Griggs subframe connectors. Every inch of this car has been welded, super solid. Drives great. I can plow it into turns. Brakes are just horrendous. The supercharger makes a tremendous amount of torque. I can come out of turns, run it pretty hard, and it just pulls like a freight train. Oh, it's a blast to drive this car. What I really enjoy is chasing the late model GT350s, and they're just not expecting this little Fox body to be hunting them down. This car is what I would call solid. It's just a really proven platform. It's a really well-balanced car, very easy to drive. It's clearly not a street car anymore. Could it be made back into a street car? Sure, but the heater core has been taken out, and like I said, it's pretty rigid, but just a really blast to drive. Those who come with me for rides, it's a comfortable car where they don't feel too jostled by it. I mean, this thing is lowered, it gets through the turns pretty quick. With the supercharger on it, again, not a lot of guys are using superchargers for open tracking, but the fun of it, nostalgic part of it is, people see a Fox body with the whine of the Vortex supercharger, and they're quite surprised, for what it does. But yeah, it keeps up with a lot of the late model GT350s. Yeah, I mean, the T5, has always been, I'll say, stretched to the limits through its history. This one being a T5Z, I've done a few minor things to it. I put a lower cluster billet plate in it, and it's sporting a 0.8 overdrive because of the road race nature. So it's got a 295 ratio first, fourth gear being 1-to-1. Majority of the time when I'm on the track with the 355 gears I'm currently running, that's going to soon change to 410s because it's an open track car. I spend a lot of time in third and fourth on an open track course, occasionally down into second when I have to jump down below 25 miles an hour to get through a turn to pop back out of it. With the 410 gears, that'll all help with that arrangement. Rarely do I use the fifth gear with the 355 gears. I mean, even down the front straight, I'm doing 110, 115 miles an hour at most tracks. The only time I typically would use fifth is if I needed a cool down lap where I'm bringing the car back off of a session for 20 minutes or so. But the T5 is a proven package for a car of this weight, 2,800 pounds. I'm running a Kevlar clutch. It's not a hard locking, it's a smooth engaging clutch. It is a clutch that isn't allowing me to squeeze the power. Now, if I was obviously drag racing this car and hitting it hard and shock loading it, this would not be the transmission of choice. I mean, now we have TKX transmission. Yes, I could put one into the car. Would it give me more capacity? Yes. Would it fit the same? Yes. Is it necessary for what I'm doing and how I drive the car? No. Part of the reason that I leave the transmission in the car is to prove that you can take a T5Z to 450 comfortably with the right driving environment. If you're going to put a ceramic clutch in and hit it hard, be the Fast and Furious, this is not for you. When is a T5 appropriate? When is it not? And again, on the street, DOT tires, yeah, you can run a T5 if you're going to be what I'll call a big adult about it. If you're going to be the Fast and Furious and you're just going to be ripping gears, a T5 has its limits, and that's where the TKX shines. Yeah, the car at the track really performed well. I mean, the last, some of the upgrades that I did was, I took the mechanical fan out, put electric in, but we put a scatterproof bell in it last year just for safety reasons. Yes, I'm running a billet flywheel with a Kevlar clutch, so the chances of it scattering is greatly diminished. However, just good safety practice to have a quick time use the 6060 model because I wanted additional ground clearance and I didn't need the SFI certification. But the car performed really well. Temperatures were down. The car really performed as usual. I was able to, after several sessions, I mean, I don't get out on the track as often as I used to. I used to get out 3-4 times a year. So it's always a good idea to get reacquainted with the car, get your tires warmed up, and once everything's working great, you can just have a whole lot of fun.